In this lesson, we're going to see how we can create a blend tree to control our character's jumping animation. Now what we want to do with this is display a specific frame of our jumping sequence based on the speed our character is flying through the air. Now do you remember how we set up each animation file of his jumping based off of the frame? We're going to call now upon those animation files based off the velocity is flying up in the air. This is one of my favorite animations to set up. So let's go on and just get started with it. Now it's going to be very similar to our walking setup. We're just going to have another layer on there. So it's going to be pretty similar. So let's just go into our animator window and get started. So I've gone ahead and deleted those jumping nodes ahead of time that are in here. You just select them, delete, and they're gone. Because we're going to re-import those into a new blend tree now, okay? So let's go ahead and create state. This should be pretty similar. New blend tree. Gonna go like so. And I'm going to just call this one simply jump. So now let's go in here and what do we got? We have our blend tree. So it's going to be 1D as well. I do not want it based off of speed because that's for our walking. So I'm going to create a new parameter in here. Also a float. I'm going to say jump speed. Okay, and now let's switch our parameter to jump speed. Now this one is based off of those 3 animation files, right? That we created each frame of the jump. I'm going to say 3. So let's add 3 motion fields. And there we have it, our 3 motion fields. So now let's stack our animation here. So I'm just going to pop frame 1, jump frame 1, jump frame 2, and jump frame 3. Cool. Going to uncheck automate thresholds because we're going to have to do a bit of tweaking to get this right eventually, but let's not think about that quite yet. Okay, I just wanted to show you. Blend tree, we can scrub through. So now it's going to say which frame to play on our character right in here. It's a pretty fun preview window. So you can see at 0, it's definitely not playing the right frame, right? So in here, since we have 2 zeros, that's just our blend tree we're messing around with now. And we have this, jump speed is all good. So one thing we need to think about logically here is, let's go back to our base layer. Right now our idle walk is set to default, and that means it's going to be playing that when we start the game. Now currently we have nothing telling it when to play this jump. When do we switch to this jump node? Unity doesn't know, there's nothing connecting it. So we need to create a parameter here. And we're going to link this to when our player is grounded or not, because that's how we set our jump, right? We were using that in our jump logic script. So let's just create that quickly. Let's create a bool. And we're going to say is grounded, okay? And let's just create a transition. So we need to tell Unity when he's not grounded, play this jump. So let's make a transition. And now let's transition back from our jump to our idle walk so we can go back and forth. Now this arrow pointing to our jump, let's click this. In this conditions, let's say if grounded condition is set to false. Switch on over to our jump. Now, when our condition we'll set here is grounded is true. Now, switch back to our walk. So WrapTuck is back on the ground and he is reacting accordingly. So there's our whole animation system set up there. I'm going to save this and let's go back to our scene view here for a sec. And let's open up that script and start connecting the dots here. And we're back to where we started, character movement script. All right, so we were just in here setting up our walking connections, right? So let's go to right underneath. Nice and easy, hey? Let's go passing off our jump speed to our animation blend tree. Something for you there. Quick little note. Save, and let's continue. So how do we want this to work? Basically, we want this script to say when our character is not grounded, set our bool animation parameter not grounded to false as well. So we want that to mirror what's going on with our logic here. And then we also want to pass off the velocity that our rigid body character is flying up in the air as he's jumping and coming back down. So we'll pass that velocity value off to our blend tree jump speed as well. So let's see how we can mirror these values. So let's start out here and let's just go like this. We are going to first mirror our if grounded is happening. So we already have that animator variable created. So let's go anim. All right, and let's go dot. we're not going to set the float this time. We're going to set the bool. So set bool, okay? And then we're going to call which bool we want to set, and that's going to be is grounded, and calling upon a string, okay? And then we're going to say, now what value do we put in there? Well, let's just simply call upon our grounded variable that we created for our character. Done deal. Look at how easy that was. So whenever our character is grounded, it's going to, or basically that grounded variable that we're using to actually launch our character in the air, it's just going to mirror our animation, which is going to be perfect. So this right here, I'm going to comment out and I'm just going to say mirrors our grounded variable to our animator parameter. That's cool, all well and good. And now let's go like this. Sends the velocity of our RB for rigid body jump to our blend tree. All right, so let's see how we can tackle this here. What we want to do is, of course, we want to say anim, calling that good old variable again, and we're going to say set float, just like we did before, because we're setting that float parameter, and that float was called jump speed. I put capitals for J and the S there. And we want to say, okay, something a little bit different here. So anim.setFloat jump speed, what is that float that we're going to be sending to that? That's going to be the velocity that our rigid body is traveling in the y-axis, right? So what do we want to do? We just want to access that rigid body component, okay? Rigid body 2D component that's on this character movement game object. And we want to say, we want to get the velocity of this, velocity in the y-axis, dot y. And let's close this off, end that statement, save our script. That's all. We are done. So let's just test this out here. So of course, we're mirroring our grounded, and our jump speed is being sent to our jump speed float. All right, so let's go and test this out. Okay, so I'm playing, we have our walk set up, and then let's jump. All right, so here we go. It is working, but our thresholds are just so wrong. So let's go like this. I'm going to click on this animator. You see it's playing this currently. I just want to show you guys what's actually going on here. This is pretty cool. Cool stuff in here. So idle walking, because grounded is true, right? Because we have that set up going on. So when I go like this, you can see that is grounded is mirroring and it's playing over to our jump animation. Cool stuff. So let's go into our jump blend tree. When we jump, we can see the value that's actually being passed in there, okay? So I'm going to be changing this. You can see it goes up to, I think it's like 4, something like that. But yeah, let's change our thresholds here. I'm going to pause this and I'm going to play around here. I don't want to waste your time. All right, and I'm back here. So it's a little bit tricky just arranging all of these here. But I've just played around and I found some values of thresholds. It works for me. So you guys are just gonna play around and get your variables, your thresholds all set. But this is what I had. Jump F1, F2, F3, 1, 0.5, and 5. Now let's take a look at what this looks like here. There we go, he's going up and he's holding those frames as I'm happy with there. Looking good. Awesome, you can see the values going in there as well. But there we have it. Okay, so now that's great. We are pretty familiar with how we can access through script those animation parameters in our mechanism system. And next we're going to look at how we can do it based off of our player's input. So let's move on to the next lesson where we'll be creating our character duck animation based off of whenever we hit the down key. So let's dig further into this animation world. I look forward to seeing you there.